Hello and welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about keywords. Now, keywords are probably the most confusing part of the low content publishing process to master, especially when there are different people out there sharing different tips, tricks, and strategies. Now, keywords can make or break your book, so it's really important to get that right. And I often see the same keyword mistakes coming up over and over again. So today I'm going to talk about 5 of the most common keyword mistakes that I see people making and how to avoid them. Now, the first mistake I see people making is using single words as keywords. Now, many people hear the word keyword and they think in terms of singular words, but remember, a keyword is actually a word or a phrase that someone is looking for. So, for example, lined journal for women. This is actually one keyword. This is what we would call a long tail keyword. So that just means that it's a keyword that is made up of several other words, but it's still considered to be one keyword. Now, the words journal and women, those are also keywords unto themselves in their own right, but if we were to just use those, they are way too broad and they really wouldn't yield any helpful results to us if we were to use them as singular keywords in our keyword slots. You really want to be using the full longer tail keyword, in this example, line journal for women, and what that's going to do is it's going to narrow down the search results, narrow down the focus, niche it down so that it gets rid of a lot of the competition that you would have faced if you had just used the singular keyword of journal. So never use just a single word in each of your keyword slots. Try and use a long tail keyword that is a keyword phrase that will narrow down the search results and allow you to take advantage of that real estate that's available in each of those slots. The second mistake I see people making is repeating keywords. So you've got your 7 keyword slots, but you've also got your title field, your subtitle field, and your series title field. Those are all the areas that you can enter your keywords. If you have entered a keyword into your title or your subtitle or even your series title, you don't then need to repeat that keyword in your keyword slots. Amazon is going to crawl all of that stuff, all of your title information and all of your keyword slots. So repeating them multiple times is not going to add any potency to that keyword. Amazon doesn't look for how many times you've used each keyword and then rank them in order, and then just decide, well, this person's used this keyword in 3 different places. That must mean it's extra important, and then, give you some extra dominance in that category. That's not how it works. Once is enough. So all you're really doing if you're repeating keywords is you're wasting space where you could have used an additional keyword, which could have given your book even furthered visibility in front of some different search results. Now remember, keywords are words or phrases that people are searching for. So what I'm not saying is, let's say you've got a keyword lined journal for women. I'm not suggesting that you don't use any other keywords with the word journal in it. You might have one keyword, which is line journal for women, and you might have another keyword, which is daily journal with prompts. Those are 2 different keywords. Even though they contain the same word in each one, those are 2 completely different keyword phrases. So just make sure you keep that in mind when you're trying to ensure you're not repeating any keywords. Now, the third mistake I see people making is just stuffing in as many random keywords as they can into each of the keyword slots. Now, each slot is not just real estate that you need to fill up with as many relevant keywords as possible without any regard to longer tail keywords or keyword phrases. So while Amazon's algorithm does look at all the words within a slot and then combine them together in as many different combinations to find as many different keywords as they can, Amazon does, in my experience, tend to favor the longer tail keywords that are entered in a logical order as opposed to just a random jumble of keywords. So the next mistake I see people making is using misrepresentative keywords. So what I mean by this is, let's say that you've created a diet logbook that you want to target people on the paleo diet. Now, the paleo diet is a trademarked phrase, so you don't want to use that in your title. Maybe you just call it, I don't know, the Paleolithic diet logbook or whatever, something that's not trademarked. But then you decide, in order to gain the visibility of people that are on the paleo diet, you might decide to use the paleo diet as one of your keywords. This is not allowed. So anything that is a trademarked phrase, you cannot use anywhere in your book. And Amazon does come down very, very hard on this. It doesn't matter if you haven't used it on your physical book or in your title or in your description, even in your keywords, it is not allowed. So Amazon clearly states that they have a zero tolerance for any type of misrepresentation. So just don't do it. And the final mistake I see people making, and frankly, this is a mistake that I make too, is never updating your keywords. So I'm not always the best at this, but it is a good practice to keep up. Now you can do this on evergreen books. So those are books that are not tied to any specific season. And by the way, this does require some tracking. So again, this is why quality over quantity reigns. The fewer books you have, the more you can keep track on the individual performance of each one. And you don't have to let it get to this library, this catalog of tens of thousands of books that you just can't possibly keep track of. If you've got a smaller catalog of books, you can better keep track of them. And you can go into your Author Central account and you can actually see your book's bestseller ranking on a graph over time. Now, if you've got some of these evergreen books that have been doing well and then you see the bestsellers ranks suddenly start to decline, that might be a good time to update your keywords, and that can recover some of your sales by just giving your book some further visibility again. Keywords are going to change over time, and the specific keywords that people are typing in on any given day are going to change over time. So it's a good idea to freshen those up every once in a while if you can, and hopefully your book can gain some further traction again. It's also a good idea to do this on seasonal books. So every year when I redo all of my planners, I update all of the keywords again because they do change over time, and I want to make sure that I'm using fresh keywords. Even if I'm using the exact same book and I've just swapped out the dates to reflect the current year, I'm still going to go back in, and I always do this for my seasonal books. Every time that season rolls around again, I update the keywords so they're fresh, and that's just going to help boost the sales and get rid of any keywords that aren't working anymore from the previous year. Now, in terms of updating your keywords, I don't recommend doing this for every single book you have. I'm talking about proven books that have been doing well and then maybe start to suffer. This is something that you can do to try and revive them. And again, with the seasonal ones, that just makes sense. What doesn't make sense is if you've got 400 books that have never made a sale, to then go back and change all the keywords. Now, one thing you can do if you think it might help is, most of us are creating books in batches. You might be using the same interior with 10 or 20 different covers. You can go back to a batch and update the keywords on one of them and see if it helps. If that does help, then take the time to go back and update the keywords in the rest of the batch. So that's something that you can do if you really think that, you've learned something new over this past little while about keywords and you just know that you did them all wrong before. Just do one out of every batch. See if you can revive any of them. And if they work, great. Then you can go back and take the time to do the rest of them. So there you have it. Those are the 5 most common mistakes that I see when people are generating their keyword strings and entering them into their metadata. If you liked this video and found it useful, then don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified every time I make one of these videos, which I publish every single Monday. Now, if you want some more low content publishing tips, be sure to head over to my blog over at rachelharrisonson.com. And if you're new to my channel and you're just looking to get started with low content publishing, then you can download my book, 3 steps to publishing your first low content book in less than a day. And I will have a link to that in the description below. All right, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.